You know, something has occurred to me. Why don't I use the border on the full screen too? It helps with my shoddy webcam. It takes up a lot of space, covers up a lot of sins. And yes, I did shave. Yes, I regret it because now we have full Eric Cartman. But at least now I can see about how much fat there is on my face that needs to be lost, so I can get back to my unhandsome self. Yeah, I shaved because I started trying to trim up the beard a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and it turned into this. It happens sometimes, but it had been a while since I'd seen my own face. That wasn't tucked behind the beard anyhow, so I thought, you know what? Since I've already gone this far and screwed it up this much, let's just go ahead and shave it the rest of the way. But we are back after taking a little, you know, having a little aside over there in the corner with the VR headset. We checked out the blue experience that they offered. They have an Apatosaurus one. I need to record that one too. But for now, we're going to get back to watching the Muldoon logs. I hope you guys have been enjoying these videos. As always, I really need you guys to go over to the original channel and watch them there as well. It's one thing to get my commentary, but you need to see these things full screen without me pausing every few seconds. You'd be doing yourself a disservice if you don't. So. But we are up to video 6. Let's jump in. Roo rada roo rada roo rada roo ra roo ra roo ra roo ra roo. I'm recording. Good. September of '91. Tape 6.
Have you had a chance to watch the footage, Jerry?
Yeah, I did, Muldoon.
What do you think? Have you seen anything like this before?
Not with the Dilos, no. What exactly did the foreman say to you he saw?
He said it spat at Manuel.
And Manuel was on the retaining wall?
Yes, we're talking some 50 feet up, Jerry.
Wow.
He said it spat something, hitting Manuel in the face. The man begins screaming, complaining he can't see. He said he stumbled blindly towards the barrier and fell over the wall into the enclosure.
Yikes, that's crazy.
He survives the fall, tries to stand, starts shaking, and then the foreman described him as not moving. I sounded the horns. You know more than anyone how the Dilos are pretty responsive to the horns. And Arnold told me all of them are in the holding pen now.
Where are they taking Manuel?
Probably Bahia and Nasco.
Okay. Where are you now?
I'm heading to the holding pen to see what I can find out, Jerry. To the rear of the river cruise is the Dilophosaurus holding pen. This pen is used to round the animals. Jerry Harding accidentally discovered that the Dilos are particularly responsive to the sound of horns. So horn recordings are blasted from speakers around the Dilo paddock that help herd the animals into this holding pen. The pen is deliberately maintained several degrees cooler and at a lower light level than the surrounding paddocks because the Dilophosaurs carry a known genetic skin disorder, which leaves their skin unusually susceptible to ultraviolet exposure.
Wow, that's That's a lot to learn about an extinct species in such a short amount of time. It's also an ingenious setup that they have there as well. The Jungle Cruise is something that we didn't really get to see much of in the first film. It took 30 years and almost 9 films to get us to that scene with the Rex and the raft in the river, and it ended up not even taking place on Isla Nublar. We did get it eventually with Jurassic World Rebirth, and I'll take it. It was very well done in Rebirth. I was looking this morning at a post on Threads where they were talking about how really only the original Jurassic Park and the Lost World have certified fresh ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and the rest are the little splatty tomatoes. I don't think that that's necessarily the best measure of how these films, how good they are or not good they are. I've never really been a fan of critics to begin with. It's one thing when the general population deems something yay or nay. Um, Public opinion is something I would use to kind of, I wouldn't use it as like a be all end all. I would still save my opinion for something at the end of the day and like my own experience. But paid critics, I've never trusted them as far as I could throw them. Always little envelopes of cash being slipped under doors and backroom deals, you know. Well, my competitor put out this film, so I'm going to pay you to tank that review and give mine a good review. Never have I trusted them. But as far as which scenes have been missing from the novels or missing from the films that were in the novels, I think the most demanded fan scene was the river scene. Of course, I think the first time we really got our really good up close look at a Jurassic Park ride in media was probably the Jurassic Park the game. It came out some years ago. You had it was kind of like a little mini roller coaster ride. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. You know, Hammond said in the film there were other rides that would come online down the road as they worked towards opening the park, and we really didn't get to see too much of that. We saw the initial safari tour with the vehicles, and that was about all we ever really got to see. Unless you count them riding through the around the lab in the theater seats, but
Prolonged sunlight results in rapid sunburn, blistering, and possible secondary infection. For that reason, shade is paramount in their enclosure. You'll notice that within their enclosure is dense canopy cover. Artificial and controlled lighting cycles limiting UV exposure. The cooler, darker environment keeps the animals calmer, reduces pacing, and prevents visible skin damage. It's quite a small area, and there are 7 animals in here. The Dilophosaurs are painfully shy dinosaurs. InGen made 2 batches of them, and Henry Wu was quick to jump on the idea of having the most up-to-date recreations, and began work on sequencing the genome of Dilophosaurus sinensis, the newer of the Dilo species, fossils of which having been excavated as recently as the 80s. This species is smaller, and there's 4 of them in here. Hammond saw the 4 adults Henry had recreated and wasn't too impressed. He insisted Henry genetically engineer the Dilophosaurus weatherilli, the larger of the 2. 3 of them were cloned, and both species live in this same enclosure here at Jurassic Park without issue.
that's not a good idea.
I want to show both species if possible. Both are nocturnal, so it's very likely that they are sleeping at the moment. Here we go. This is Dilophosaurus, the smaller species. These guys are less prone to the sunburn skin issue, yet I have witnessed peeling between the crests if they're out of the shade for prolonged periods of time. These guys grow to about 4 foot tall and are mostly timid, yet they start to become curious about you pretty quickly if you hang about them for a bit. However, they tend to be pretty quiet most of the time. Sorry, girl. Back to sleep. Hear that? If you didn't know there were Dilophosaurs here, you'd be forgiven in thinking that what you're hearing is the hooting of an owl. But it's no owl. That's the call of Dilophosaurus weatherilli. They actually creep me out. Like
I just realized in the top corner there, 14th of September, 91. My border get in the way of that? No, you can see it in the recording. 14th of September, 1991. That's my birthday. I was born September 14th, 1984. So Jurassic Park was not, I wasn't much older than Jurassic Park. Definitely wasn't older than the attempts that Henry Wu and his team was making in general. I don't know how far back the research facility on St. Hubert goes, the one from Rebirth. I don't know when they established their base of operations on Isla Sorna either. I love this series, but I'm not one of the guys you can go to that's going to be able to tell you every date of everything everywhere in the canon, film or otherwise, unfortunately.
Like I said, they're the larger of the two species, but they're actually quite attentive to people. I would say the closest thing to them would probably be Australia's cassowary. But they are quite remarkable animals. They tend to deeply focus on their handlers and study them closely. And they have what I believe to be a very haunting characteristic. And I want to document such. She's right there. If I can just get her to step out.
Should I spin up the camera?
Shit! And this is why they creep me out. See this behavioral display? They seem to size up their opponent in an attempt to intimidate equally sized threats. As you can see, this girl is quite a bit larger than the Sinensis species, the green ones. She stands at about 8 foot tall, which already gives a cassowary a run for its money. But this display would make anyone fear for their lives. The first time I encountered this animal was on orientation to the park, and it was nighttime. This thing nearly made me fire an entire round into my pants with that creepy sway and hooting it does. But it's absolutely a beautiful animal with that jaguar-like hide and those red crests atop its head.
She is a
That's
pretty
a chopper
species.
coming to collect Manuel from the Dilo enclosure. I'm waiting for them to airlift him out, and then I want to enter while these girls are still in here. But by the looks of it, it'll be evening before Regis makes the call to allow any of us to re-enter the enclosure. He's the park's PR person, and what that means here is he needs to make sure any accident is promptly contained and no one asks questions.
She is much bigger than the others.
I'm now in the Dilophosaur enclosure proper. This habitat is currently part of 2 major rides at the park.
I remember somebody telling me that the Dilophosaurus that we saw in Jurassic Park were juveniles. They weren't full grown. But in every bit of subsequent media we've seen, they've all been that small. Even in Jurassic World Dominion, when we did get to see them in the tunnels, they were not the same size as the small ones here. They're not that big. I don't know.
The electric vehicle tour and the jungle river cruise. The back end of this paddock leads up to the retaining wall that poor Manuel fell off. I've become so curious to see something that I thought I saw when I first peered down off the wall, and then later thought I spotted in the footage. Here's the retaining wall, and here's where Manuel landed. The poor soul's helmet is still in the water, and this is the interesting part that I wanted to take note of. This black substance pooling around the helmet. Let me take a closer look. On the water here, I don't like thick, black, almost tar-like. Not natural runoff, not oil. It's viscous. It doesn't smell like anything I recognize.
Are you sure it isn't decomposed plant matter or resin? That enclosure's humid, plenty of biological breakdown. Don't touch your face, whatever you do. Does it feel warm? Any reaction on your skin?
Negative on the heat. It's cold, actually.
I hear raptors though. That's another thing. I hear them. I hear those unmistakable hoots and hollers.
But it's not sap. Sap doesn't coat like this. It's not like honey.
Dilophosaurs aren't known to excrete anything like that. Are there injuries on the dilos? Any signs of illness?
That's the troubling part. I checked them after we herded them into the holding pen. Clean, alert, no visible trauma, no lethargy. Yet this substance is on some of the railings atop the wall Manuel fell from. I can easily understand slipping on something like this.
You're implying some kind of defensive secretion, Muldoon.
I'm moving in deeper, Jerry. I'll sweep the perimeter first, then work inward. If there's more of that substance, it won't all be on bare rock.
Proceed slowly. Dense vegetation traps residue. Anything expelled with force will settle low once gravity takes over. Watch for patterns, not just accumulation. Smears and streaks, pooling at the base of stems. That's where behavior leaves its fingerprints.
Water's cloudy here. Silt and organic matter, but nothing stands out yet. No sheen on the surface, no discoloration.
Hey, Rexy.
If this were waste runoff, I'd expect a gradient. There's nothing consistent.
That's why the lower vegetation matters, Robert. Fecal waste follows predictable patterns. It breaks down quickly in water, disperses evenly, clings loosely to plant matter. You'd see diffuse staining, microbial bloom, a smell, ammonia, sulfur compounds. It certainly wouldn't appear elevated unless carried by flood surge, and the jungle river hasn't flooded to that scale.
So if it's concentrated under the brush,
Then it suggests deposition, not runoff.
I'm checking the bases now. Nothing, just rot, mud, and insect life. Normal decay. If this substance was here recently, it's not widespread. Whatever happened, it happened in a narrow corridor.
That narrows the event window. It means the worker didn't stumble into a contaminated area by chance. He intersected it. And if there's no residue beneath the vegetation elsewhere, then this isn't a chronic biological byproduct. It's episodic.
I don't like episodic animals, Jerry. Especially ones we think we understand. I'm coming up empty so far. No pooled residue in the low spots. Either it was cleaned by the rain or it was never meant to linger.
Or it was precise. Used once.
Mark my words, Jerry, there's more to the dilos than we know. I've reached drier ground now, no standing water. If that black substance was carried by runoff, it should thin out here.
We'd need to examine the cellular architecture under light microscopy. If it's fecal in origin, you'll see fragmented plant cells, microbial colonies. If it's secreted tissue, you'll find organized structures, glandular cells, protein matrices.
So you're looking for intent again, design versus waste.
Precisely. If it's a bodily secretion or there's an enzymatic agent involved, histology will show proteins, crystallized enzymes, or storage vesicles.
Let me run something by you, Jerry.
Sure.
Is it possible that this substance is a kind of venom?
Oh,
Picture it like this. That substance behaving like a hunting aid. If it can be expelled accurately, it explains the splatter height and why a man lost his footing so fast. a blinding or incapacitating agent meant to immobilize a prey item without a prolonged struggle.
Venom as a projectile?
Yes, spitting cobra style.
That would require specialized anatomy, not something that appears accidentally.
I wonder how many animals in nature can spit. Honestly, don't know. I know, as they said, cobra can spit, but and I mean, obviously, camels, llamas, they spit, but they don't spit venom. I wonder how many animals in our modern animal kingdom can spit venom. It's a good question. I have to look that up.
Fossil records never suggested it, but I will admit our animals are already diverged from expectation.
We sedate one and conduct
Yeah, I don't think the actual real world Dilophosaurus spat anything. I think that's strictly an invention of science fiction with Jurassic Park. Of course, like he just said, there's no telling what Henry Wu put in those animals that was not originally part of their genome. So he could have added something that easily made them, made that possible.
exploratory surgery. Check the maxilla, the jawline, the neck. If there are glands, ducts, anything resembling a storage structure, people are getting hurt because we're assuming limits that may not exist.
Muldoon, you know John would kick up a stink about putting one under the knife for the sake of exploration.
True, but let's say he's on board and we confirm anything even close to the idea of these animals being venomous. Containment protocols must change immediately. The river cruise cannot stay as it is. Open boats filled with people. If these animals can project something outward, distance and shielding become mandatory. Shit!
You all right, Muldoon?
Yeah, Jerry. Compies.
Ah, the cleanup crew are there.
They're feeding on something, Jerry. Looks like hatchling birds. And Jerry, there's that same black substance.
Small prey wouldn't require physical restraint. This aligns far more with envenomation than blunt force predation.
If the Dilophosaurs did this, they didn't need to chase or climb. They let this substance do the work.
Venom used on prey implies a deliberate targeting behavior. Enough to kill birds, possibly enough to paralyze a man.
That means we're done pretending this is theoretical. Birds today, workers tomorrow, guests after that if we're careless. This confirms it for me. These animals are hunting, with more than teeth and claws, and the park is not designed for predators that hunt from a distance.
And watch
Wouldn't the compies succumb to the poison too? There's
yourself around the compies. Don't let them nip you.
This is one of 7 lookout points along the length of the Jungle River throughout the park. This one peers into the Dilophosaur enclosure specifically, but the others look out onto Sauropod Swamp to see the apatosaurs and hadrosaurs, etc., with the river eventually winding through the aviary. Still far from completion, but the general idea is guests can join the river cruise at any one of these 7 entry points, board a raft, and sail past several enclosures to get that up-close and personal experience that Hammond wants for all his guests. There's still a boarding ramp and jetty and things to add here, with the date of completion being somewhere before the end of next year. Yet regarding the Dilos specifically, Hammond definitely won't be thrilled about the idea of having large segments of this ride change so drastically. He's always said that he doesn't want his guests to feel like they are watching animals in a zoo. Getting them close to the animals is something he won't budge on. He always says everyone in the world has a right to enjoy these animals. Enjoy being the key word, not just view them, but enjoy them. But with safety in mind, either some sort of glass barricade needs to be erected alongside the electric fences to prevent the Dilophosaurs from shooting guests in the face with what is potentially venom. Or the rafts used on the Jungle River ride need to be enclosed. Both options call for divorcing the park visitor from the attraction. And if I know Hammond, which I do very well, he won't want to explore either option. I've got some movement in there. One of the Dilos might be taking a swim, which is rare. They can swim, but all the workers here have never spotted one actually crossing water. So this might be a first.
Or it might not be a Dilophosaurus.
No way.
Let's go back and see if we can tell what that was. Because I don't know what that was.
No way.
I can't tell what it is. Whatever it is, it's green. Raptor.
Way.
What I thought it was. Raptor. So Muldoon now has encountered the first raptor out of enclosure. Alrighty, and that's going to wrap things up for the 6th log in the Muldoon series. Yeah, I think I like it way better if they are based on both the film and the novel, and kind of bouncing back and forth and taking what you want and what you need from both. I didn't know at the outset, when I watched the first episode or two, I didn't really know what to expect. Like I said, I didn't do a deep dive into what this series was. I saw it on YouTube and watched the first episode and thought, well, this is neat. And then I saw it on social media, other people reacting to it, and I thought, well, this is also neat. Other people are reacting to it too. Let me throw my hand in the ring. So here we are. Finding raptors everywhere they shouldn't be, which is terrifying, to say the least. All right, join me next time as we continue this brilliant series.